Welcome back. Let's head into freeCodeCamp and see what's in store for us today. The last thing we did was turn an image into a link, and today we will start with the unordered list. HTML has a special element for creating unordered lists or bullet point style lists. Unordered lists start with an opening UL element, followed by a number of LI elements. Finally, an unordered list is closed with a UL tag. Here's a brief little example of creating an unordered list or a bullet pointed list. And what they want us to do is remove the last two paragraph tags and create an unordered list of 3 things that cats love at the bottom of the page. Okie dokie. We'll get rid of these 2 paragraph tags here, these 2 paragraph elements. And now we're going to create our first unordered list. And we do that by creating a UL tag. And let's immediately put the closing tag in. I'll line these up. And then what we need is 3 LI elements. So if I come in here, we need an LI and a closing LI. And inside here, so one thing that cats like to do is sleep. And we can see here is one item is showing here with the bullet point next to it. So the UL stands for unordered list and the LI stands for list item. So let's just copy paste this one and paste it 3 times. Here we go, we can see sleep, sleep, sleep. And I guess what they like to do is sleep, eat, and sleep. Let's just leave it like that. All right. Let's check if we've done this properly. All good. Create an ordered list. HTML has another special element for creating ordered lists or numbered lists. Ordered lists start with the opening OL element, followed by any number of LI elements, followed by ordered lists. Finally, ordered lists are closed with the OL tag. Okie dokie, and here's another little example. Create an ordered list of the top 3 things cats hate most. Okay, so we should put this underneath here. So this time we're going to make not an unordered list, but a ordered list. And we should throw in the closing tag. And here we go, list item. Put the closing list item tag in. One thing they hate is to take a bath. Let's just do this 3 times. Bath, birds, and dogs. There you go. So now we have this list here of the top 3 things the top 3 things cats hate: bath, birds, and dogs. All right, we did that correctly. So in this session, it looks like we are going to create a text field within a web form. So as they explain, input elements are a convenient way to get input from your user. You can create a text input like this. There's an example. So we have the input tag, then we say type equals text, and it looks to me like this is a self-closing tag. Note the input elements are self-closing, so fine. Create an input element of type text below your lists. So these are the 2 lists here. That's one list there, one list here, and they both have a paragraph above them to give them a kind of a label. And they want us to come below here and create a input element. So we can literally just say input and then type equals text, and then this is a self-closing tag. And there we have it. If you look at the bottom here, there's an input field and we can type in it. Nothing's going to happen to this input just yet. Let's check if we've done this. Yep, done all correctly. Submit and go to the next challenge. Add placeholder text to a text field. Placeholder text is what is displayed in your input element before your user has inputted anything. You can create a placeholder text like so, and all you need to do is add the placeholder attribute, and then this is what will be shown as sort of a background text before the user has entered anything in the text box. Set the placeholder value to cat photo URL. Okay, no problem. So we have the type attribute here, and next we need to add the placeholder attribute, and they want this to be cat photo URL. Oh, I mistyped that, so if I stick the E in here, there we go. So you can see it's, by default it's grayed out a bit, and if I start typing that'll disappear. So that placeholder text is something you see before you've entered anything into the field. Far out, did it. Submit and go to the next challenge. Create a form element. You can build web forms that actually submit data to a server using nothing more than pure HTML. You can do this by specifying an action attribute on your form element, for example. And what this will do is create a form with an input field inside of it, and when the user, there's no submit button here, but if the user had to push enter, this form would get submitted, and any inputs that the user has typed in here will get submitted to this URL. So this will go back to, in this case, back to freeCodeCamp and send the form information to this URL, which is probably a fake URL for this example. The challenge is to nest the existing input element inside a form element and assign this URL to the action attribute of the form element. Okie dokie, so we have the input element here, and they want us to wrap that in a form element. So I can come here and create a form. That's the opening tag. I'll just indent this and place a closing tag here. And what we need to make the form work as they want it to, we need to give it a action, and then we can copy paste this URL into that action. There we go. And what this means now is when I type in there and push enter, whatever I type in here will get submitted to this URL. I'm not sure if that'll actually do anything, but let's just put here 1, 2, 3 and push enter. There we go, you see it. That's their response. So what happened is I typed 1, 2, 3, pressed enter, which submitted the form. The data would have got sent to this location, and that then their servers then accepted that information and replied with a new page which says, "Thank you, we will receive your submitted response and reply if needed." So thank goodness I didn't put any passwords or anything strange in there. Let's check if we implemented this as they wanted us to. Run the tests. Yep. Let's add a submit button to your form. Clicking this button will send the data from Clicking this button will send the data from your form to the URL you specified with your form's action attribute. Here's an example. They're using the type attribute to tell the browser that this button will submit the form when clicked, and this is the text inside. Add a button as the last element of your form element with a type of submit, and submit as the text. Fine. Okay, so inside of the form, so they want the last element in there, which is here, so just before the closing tag of the form, we can come in here and create a button. And let's just add the closing tag. And inside of here is where we can put text that will be shown to the user. So if I just type hello, you can see this button now has the text of hello. What they've asked us to do is use the word submit as the text. Submit, there we go. And we also need to use the type attribute to tell the browser that this button is a submit button, which means when the user clicks it, submit any data in the form to whichever URL is in the action attribute of the form. Here we go, I can say type equals submit. And now whatever I type here, if I click this button, it should get sent to the server and we get the same response as if we had pushed enter. Both of those techniques can be used to submit form data to whichever URL is put into the action attribute of that form. I wonder if I'll just copy this button. I don't know if I do this, if it might reset. Here we go. So that just reset the view that we see here. And I would just like to say that you get a few types of buttons. This one is, we're saying the type of this button is submit, but you can also just, if you don't want to submit the form when a person clicks this button, you can just mark this as button. And now when I type something in here and push this, nothing happens. This is what we'd usually do if we wanted JavaScript to handle the click of this button, which we'll get to down the line. Another thing you can do is say that this button is of type reset. And what that will do now is, if I just change the text as well. So now if I put something into this form and I click this button, it goes back to the initial state, which is an empty value here. But what they want us to do is create a submit button. Also, if you leave out the type, by default this will be a submit button. So if I type some stuff in here and push submit now, that defaulted to be a submit button. But we can be nice and clear and say that this button will submit the form when the user clicks it. There we go. Let's check if we've done this properly. Perfect. And we've just tipped over to, oh, Thundercats, nice. I see we've just tipped over past 71%, so I think we can leave it at that for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers for now.